In today's video, I want to address one of the most difficult questions we face in practical chess. Where to play, what's the part of the board that belongs to you, where should you go for pawn breaks, the queen side, the center, the king side, how to orientate yourself in such difficult situations. Well, there are certain rules of thumb, but this kind of rule I don't think is so useful in chess, especially if you're already climbing the ladder. You can consider deeper things, and depending on the opening you're playing, certain patterns are going to be repeated over and over. We're going to address this difficult question by analyzing an old game of mine against Rustam Kasimdzhanov. My game against Rustam Kasimdzhanov was played in the legendary Linares, Spain. Yeah, and it's the Linares Open. No, don't get confused with the Linares closed tournament that only was meant for chess legends. So in this tournament, 1998, in the 6th round, I was paired against Rustam Kasimdzhanov. And after a typical King's Indian, it wasn't actually a King's Indian, it was a modern defense, but we reached this position we have at the board. Black to play, and he decided to block the center by advancing c5. It's a pretty logical move if we compare it to c takes d5, c takes d5. You can see how the rook gets open, the bishop diagonal is also open, and the c4 square is available for the knight. While after c5, things feel a little bit more uncomfortable. Yeah, both of my bishops are blocked. The rook's file is useless, and we have no c4 for the knight. So c5 has been a great move, without a doubt. And now it was turn for me to decide where to play. Usually in the King's Indian defense, the queen side belongs to white. So playing for b4 is the most normal. And that's actually what I did. I played rook b1, preparing b4. Even a3 could have been another choice, followed by b4. Usually, rook b1 is more useful, as once you play b4, they are going to play b6, and you trade, and the rook gets activated right away, whereas a3 is only in case you doubt that playing b4 right away give your opponent the chance to capture on b4, what is unlikely, but that sometimes happens. What are your pawns pointing to? Well, my pawns, this and this one, are pointing to the queen side. So shall I put this one here to have more reasons to play on the queen side? I don't think so. Yeah, and yeah, well, on the other hand, if I play b3, my pawns are also pointing to the king side. So it's a little bit confusing. If I follow this rule of thumb, it will end up really very confused. Instead of playing for b4, I could have tried to avoid my opponent's f5. This is the typical break in the King's Indian. So I could have accomplished that by playing king h1, and against knight e8 to play g4. This would have been a way to dissuade black from playing f5, but actually f5 is the most normal way to play in this kind of position. After f5, g takes f5, g takes f5, e takes f5. There are certain benefits for us. Now e4 belongs to our knights, and the g file is open. So this would have been a really nice way to play. Even f4 right away, instead of king h1, was a possibility. And well, again, this kind of position would be great for black in case the knight can end up on e5. But if this is not the case, as in this position, e takes f4, bishop takes f4, our position is better as white, as we have the control of e5. Our dream would be to play knight f3 and e5, but even if we don't accomplish that dream, we are going to have a nice position unless this knight gets to e5. Let me show you the game because it got really interesting after rook b1, knight c e8, and I played b4. That was the idea. f4, it wasn't late to play f4, it was an interesting choice, but I played b4, and here he traded. That was turned out to be a good move. Rook takes b4 and b6. Well, now it is clear that his intention is to play knight a6 and knight c5, and this is really annoying. I think I underestimated, and I continue with the normal plan. I played a4. It is interesting to consider c5. This is a engine's move. The idea is to avoid knight a6. Our bishop is controlling this square, but it actually, I don't know, sacrificing a pawn in this way is something that I am not used to because I don't believe my structure is so superior to Lax's structure, but it might be the case. It might be the case. Now we have the c4 square from where we put pressure on d6, and we have several squares on the queen side. So that could have been interesting, but I didn't even consider it. So I played a4, intending to play a5, f5, f3, knight f6, and yeah, I continued with a5. That's the normal way to play. Yeah, we're expecting black to capture, and they are not going to capture never, because then we are going to play c5. We are going to enjoy the strength of this bishop. Okay, so the game continued with knight a6, rook b1, not a good move. Rook b2 would have been better, because in that case I would be able to play queen c2 and double rooks on the b file, but I simply don't understand why I play rook b1. I think I was playing a little bit automatic chess without thinking a lot, without getting deeper in the position. So knight c5, and again I played a takes b6, a bad move. Yeah, there is no rush in capturing because he's not going to capture, so playing queen c2 would have been a better idea in a way to connect our rooks, and sometimes playing rook b2 and rook fb1, even wasting a tempo compared to the other lines. So I played a takes b6, and I can understand. I think I was trying to trade pieces as fast as possible to dissuade him from attacking me and to persuade him to have a solid game, but that was a ridiculous idea, and I played rook a1. He captured, rook takes a1, queen takes a1, knight h5. The position seems a little bit annoying for us. Now the knight is coming to f4. He decided not to play f4 as bishop f2, g5. I think he finds it a little bit slow, and perhaps he's afraid of rook b1, queen a7, and this pawn will drop. So he decided to play for the f4 square. This is a typical thing in the King's Indian. And I continue with rook b1, bringing my rook to the attack of the b pawn and being ready to answer knight f4 with bishop f1. Yeah, safeguarding g2, and my position seems really solid. But okay, he's still threatening things. Now after bishop h6, putting pressure on e3, on d2, he's threatening knight h3. I had to run away and take advantage of the fact that the bishop is not defended. So he played bishop g5, and things are getting really annoying. Yeah, this is a very annoying situation. Now he might be threatening knight takes e2. Yeah, he's threatening knight takes e2, and when I capture, he captures with the queen, attacking my knight. So I played the passive knight d1, and the position is becoming really annoying. So here is black to play. How could you continue as black? Okay, knight d1 held me defending the bishop. Now is not undefended. Knight g2 is simply answered by bishop takes e2, but he's got some interesting chances in the dark squares. I mean, his queen might get to h4 somehow, and things may, or to g5, and things may get really alarming for myself. So he played f takes e4. That's pretty natural. He opens the f file, but turned out to be a mistake. He must have played knight h5. Yeah, knight h5, trying to bring the queen to g5 or to h4. Instead of playing knight h5, that would have been really annoying for me, he played f takes e4. That turns out to be a mistake because of bishop takes c5. Yeah, now b takes c5, knight takes e4, and the position had drastically changed. Now, white's knight is really well placed on e4, and well, the position of the king seems really solid. We can sometime play g3 to get rid of the attacking knights, and I don't know, things really improved a lot. I'm actually attacking the d6 pawn, bishop f5 was a game, knight dc3, and knight h5. And here we are in a critical moment, the critical position of the game. And how to play as white. Things have improved, but here definitely I lower my guard and something really annoying happened. So what would you play as white? What is he threatening? Well, I played bishop d3. That was a mechanical move. It's like all the game I've been playing moves that are not related to concrete variations, at least not concrete variations that work. I'm playing normal moves, trying to reinforce the control of e4, and somehow I'm offering him a draw, I guess. And this is ridiculous, because he's got an aggressive intention, and he played bishop f4. Well, instead of playing bishop d3, I can play for an advantage here by pushing g4. Yeah, this is the most direct way to get an advantage for white. Yeah, that was a really nice situation. After bishop takes e4, knight takes e4. But, I mean, playing g4 is not everybody's cup of tea because your king gets a little bit weakened, but black's pieces are not ready to attack the king so far. So, and even if they were ready, my pieces are ready to cover the second rank. So things are not so dangerous here. So after g4, bishop takes e4, knight takes e4, he's forced to play knight g7. Yeah, knight f4 stops the attack of the rook, so I can simply play queen a6, attacking d6 and bringing the rook to b7, and all of a sudden you can see that this pawn is completely safeguarded because of the knights. Knight g7 was forced, and now queen a7 threatening rook b7, and things are really annoying. Rook takes f3 is simply a blunder because of rook b8, rook takes f1, and king g2, nothing happens, we win the queen. So instead, rook f7, and we can trade queens by playing queen b8. Yeah, and d6 is falling, so this is really an annoying position for black. In case of rook takes f3, bishop g2, and I don't know, things are really annoying for him. Rook f8, queen takes d8, bishop takes d8, and knight takes d6. And well, after knight e4, the c pawn is going to be really exposed, and our d pawn sometimes can advance. So this position is close to winning. I didn't play g4. G3 would have been also possible, trying to stop bishop f4, that is his threat, and against bishop e3, followed by bishop d4, simply queen a7 again. And well, we are doing great, I guess. Instead, the game ended abruptly with bishop d3, bishop f4, and now I played g4. That is not losing, incredibly, is not losing. My opponent played bishop takes h2, and here I played the losing move, king takes h2, simply losing in the spot because of bishop takes g4. And everything is coming to attack my king. I was horrible to my king, and I was punished. The thing was not to capture the bishop. Instead, playing queen b2 was the right way to continue threatening queen takes h4. Yeah, the game might end in a draw after knight g3, knight takes g3, bishop takes g3, g takes f5, g takes f5. They can force a draw with queen h4, king g1, queen d4, queen h1, and well, queen h4 again, a draw. Or well, the other option is to play after queen b2. That's really incredible. I mean, it's not easy to spot this idea. But after bishop takes e4, then we are better after knight e4 because everything is under attack. So this should be avoided for black. Bishop takes g4 is possible as well. F takes g4, knight g3, and again king takes h2, queen h4, king g2, knight e4, knight e4, and a draw again, king h2. This is really interesting. Rook f3, and he's threatening mate, but after queen g2, knight queen f4, king g1, rook takes d3, and this is a draw after rook b8, king g7, rook b7, and that's it. There's no way to hide as king h6 loses right away to queen h1, checkmate. So this would have been a very nice hand, but instead of it, I just simply fell into a horrible attack after king takes h2, bishop takes g4, f takes g4, queen h4, king g1, queen takes g4, king h2, queen f4. Now I'm a couple of pieces up, but this is a typical situation in which your queen is not playing anything at all. This is a red flag always when you have your queen on the other side of the board and they are attacking you. This is something you have to avoid. So queen f4, king h1, queen f3, king g1, queen e3, king h1, and rook f4. Now he's bringing the pieces. He will recapture the bishop on d3 whenever he wants, and yeah, the rook is going to h4, queen a8, king g7, rook b7, king h6, and there's nothing I can do here. There are no good checks, and my king is completely defenseless. So this is typical from the King's Indian. Yeah, you get an inferior position as black, but after all, you manage to complicate matters and turn around the game. Yeah, this is part of the same complex nature of the King's Indian. Things are really hard to handle. And okay, this time I was on the wrong side of the story, but okay, I wanted to show you the game. It's a nice one anyways. Okay, thank you for your attention and see you next time. Goodbye.